Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 54. Bhagavad Gita as it is, this text 54 is a very famous verse. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Isopanisad Swami Srila Prabhupada. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So Krishna is saying, when can we attain pure devotional service? He's saying to the impersonalist, achieving the Brahmabhuta stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. But for the personalist, a pure devotee, one has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. So what does the impersonalist say? That for him, the perfection is Aham Brahmasmi, that I'm Brahman, that I'm the soul. That is the goal of the impersonalist, the Brahmavadi. But what does the devotee want? The devotee says, okay, I'm the soul, but now what do? I have some activity as a soul. So what I have to do? So then a pure devotee engages in pure devotional service for the pleasure of Krishna. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation called Brahma Bhuta, oneness with the Absolute. Without being one with the Supreme, the Absolute, one cannot render service unto Him. In the Absolute conception, there is no difference between the served and the servitor, yet the distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. You see, actually, we are qualitatively the same as Krishna. Krishna is Satchidananda, we are Satchidananda. We are the same quality. Like Prabhupada would say, if we make a lab report of a drop of ocean water and of the full ocean, the quality is the same. It's just the quantity is different. Krishna is unlimited and we are tiny, insignificant. But in Goloka Vrindavan, we see that Krishna is serving his devotees. Krishna is taking his friends on his back. His friends are saying, hey, you lost the game, so you carry us on the back. So who's the servant and who's the master? But it's not that the friends, they want to enjoy Krishna or exploit Krishna. Deep down, that mood of eternal servant is always there in all the rasas that we can have with Krishna. There are 5 rasas, but the underlying mood is that I'm eternally a servant of Krishna. But now we say, why should I be a servant of Krishna? That is conditioned life. That's the reason we are in this body. That's the reason we are in this material world. Because we say, why should I be a servant of Krishna? I can be independent. And so this whole material creation is created by Krishna to help us wash off this artificial need that we have. It is artificial because at core, we are actually eternal souls, eternal parts and parcels of Krishna. And each of us have a loving relationship with Krishna, a personal loving relationship with Krishna. I mean, can you imagine? We have a personal relationship with God, and yet we don't want to call out on that relationship. We are still trying to say, I will do it myself, I will do it myself. Like Prabhupada would say, that there is this old woman in the forest and she has a big bundle of wood next to her and God comes to her. Now God is coming to her. She can ask him anything. But what does she ask him? My dear God, please put this bundle of wood on my head. So it means she wants to continue to suffer. Like carrying a bundle of wood on your head is not an easy thing, right? But we are like that. We are chanting the holy name and we are not paying attention. Krishna is coming. We are still wanting our own material desires. We have so many material desires. So in the material concept of life, when one works for sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. The devotee in Krishna consciousness has nothing for which to lament or desire. So that is the sign that when one becomes a pure devotee, there is no lamentation, no desire, except to be engaged in service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. Why do we want to engage in the service of Krishna? For the pleasure of Krishna, under the guidance of the previous acharyas, under the guidance of the spiritual master. Since God is full, a living entity who is engaged in God's service in Krishna consciousness becomes also full in himself. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. So why, when we engage in Krishna service, we become happy? Because we are pleasing Krishna. By engaging in Krishna service, we are pleasing Krishna, and the pleasure that Krishna feels, he shares it with us, and we feel happy. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he's naturally always joyful. So whatever we think of, we take on that quality, right? What we are thinking of. If we are thinking of somebody who's always very angry, who's giving us a lot of anxiety, what will happen? Our state of mind, we will become anxious, we will become fearful. But if we always think of Krishna, Krishna is always happy. He's the source of all pleasure. He's the source of all happiness. So if we always think of Krishna, we work for the pleasure of Krishna, what will happen? Automatically we will become happy. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain, because he is full in the service of the Lord. He has no desire for material enjoyment, because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore eternally a servant. Krishna says in the 15th chapter that each and every living entity is my part and parcel. They are my fragments. He's saying that we are Krishna's eternal parts. He does not see in the material world someone as higher and someone as lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral, and a devotee has nothing to do with the ephemeral appearances or disappearances. Why doesn't he see someone as higher or lower? Why? He will deal with people accordingly, but at core, he will give respect to everyone. Why? Because he knows that each and every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna, and that Krishna loves this living entity dearly. So the higher and lower positions are only to do with the body. It's nothing to do with the soul. The differences are based only on the body, not on the base of the soul. It doesn't mean that we are all one big soul without any individuality. No, we remain eternally individuals, but we are eternally related to Krishna. We are all Satchidananda, and we are parts and parcels of Krishna. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. This is the Brahma Bhuta stage. So if somebody says, I'm on the Brahman platform, we can have this test. Are they lamenting? Do they have any desire? Do they look at all living entities equally? How are their actions? How are they active? How do they see stone and gold? Do they see them as equal? And this stage is very easily attained, very easily by the pure devotee. In that stage of existence, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and highlighting one's individuality becomes hellish. The idea of attaining the heavenly kingdom becomes phantasmagoria, and the senses are like serpents whose poisoned teeth are broken. So a devotee never wants to merge into the divine light, as people say, oh, you merge into the divine light. A devotee never wants to become that, because he wants to continue to maintain his individuality, to serve Krishna in the spiritual world. The devotee does not want to go to a higher planet, maybe Indralok, Chandralok, or anywhere else. Why? Because that situation is also just a temporary situation. And after our quota of living in that situation finishes, we will still have to come back to this earth. And the senses of a pure devotee, they are serpents whose poison teeth are broken, because a devotee knows how to use his senses only in the service of Krishna. As there is no fear of a serpent with broken teeth, There is no fear from the senses when they're automatically controlled. The world is miserable for the materially infected person, but for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. So a pure devotee, he gives equal respect to an ant and equal respect to Brahmaji. Not that he's disrespecting Brahmaji. No, but he's also respecting the ant. He will deal with everyone accordingly to their position, of course. It's not that when he sees any ant, he's gonna, offer his obeisance. Well, some of them might, because there was a great saint, Saint Paul of Francis. I think he would say, "My brother tree, my brother flower," like that. He was seeing all living entities as his brothers and sisters, and that is true God consciousness. Such a stage can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Caitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age. So we just have to follow in the footsteps. We have to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees. Follow the instructions. What did Lord Chaitanya tell us? Chant Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna and make others chant Hare Krishna. And we can be situated on the Brahma Bhuta platform. Is that okay?
Yes.
So we can stop here for today. Anybody would like to add anything, share anything? Question?
Clear.
Okay. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada
Ki Jai. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you.